And so you will provide to me all of your makeups if you are in charge of a committee. And you have someone say, sign up to drive a boat for an event that we're doing. I'll need those names from you as committee chairs because I want to make sure that everyone gets their makeups posted. Under this E-member category, we changed how we credit makeups. It's very important that you know this. For every hour of volunteering that you do, you get a makeup. So for those of you who are out selling beer for 3 hours, you got 3 makeups. If you were out at the waterfront park and you were handing out food at the Low Country supper, you received 3 makeups. Not in the past, we did 1. So for those of you who are on top of your committees, I'll need those volunteer lists back. Thank you to our beer and food, and Boyd, thank you, I've got the list, because, and also it does help it's posted in the wheel, but don't assume that I see that. Also, as secretary, I keep the minutes for the meetings. They're always available. If you want copies of the minutes, let me know. I've got them going back to about 2010. And that's the excitement of being a secretary. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Whitney. And moving right along, we got the past president who's going to say a few words, and then I'll follow up.
Hello again. I'm the bearer of bad tidings, so I'm going to begin a different tone for the meeting. In recent years, the club has actually struggled to balance the budget and be on the plus side. In my year, just ending, we're going to have a meeting actually later today with newer numbers, but the estimate at this point in time is that I was $2,369 in the red, okay? Oh, I love this club. In the past years, in the last 5 years, some years we were in the red, some years we were in the black, 1 year we were even. But in general, the cumulative loss over the last 5 years is $43.67. So in the last 5 years, we're down about $4,000. The financial committee, which we started revamped this year, which would be next year's president, the current president, last year's president, and Wayne Promislong, the CPA. We've looked at these and spent more time than we care to admit. But you're going to hear a little bit more about how we're going to address that in just a minute. But going forward, we're going to have a much better understanding, and you're going to have a much better understanding of our finances. We're aiming toward much more transparency and the goal to be cumulatively in the black every year. And needless to say, you don't want to be way ahead, because then you can give more money away. So we should be close to 0, but hopefully on the black side of the ledger. So yes, sir.
Where are you going to attribute that to?
That'll be explained in a minute. I'm the warm-up act. So, any other questions? All right, here we go.
Unfortunately, this might be the main act, and if you don't like it, I'll volunteer for it to be my last act, but be that as it may, let's take a look at where we're at. First of all, in our club, there are 2 piles of money. One is the operating expenses, and the other one is our charitable works. What I want to talk about today is our operating expenses. The charitable works is money that we get when we do the beer tent, or we do the crab race or whatever, and that's what we do where we spend all of our scholarship stuff. When we do our administrative work, all that money is covered by our dues. And we're going to talk about that as soon as I can get this guy to work, but I'll just push it here. Okay, presently, we have 89 members in the club. 9 are active R85s. We have 20 who are active non-luncheon people. These are the category that is like, oh boy. This is a category like it's E-members, whatever. And then we have 60 active luncheon members. or the active ordinary like you have on your badge. If we look at some definitions, the active luncheon people are the active ordinaries, the active R85s, and these are the guys that show up or the gals that show up every week or most of the time. They prepaid for their meals. Now we have a whole new category. We've had it for the last 3 years, by the way, and Rotary gave us all these names. We have E-members, corporate members, and family members. Not much difference in them, except there's a few little differences, but they do not prepay for their lunch. They pay when they come in, just like a guest does, or someone who brings a guest to Howard, our Sergeant at Arms. The E-member is that category of person who can't make it to the club, and they are required to get online every week and view the club meeting that's been recorded and posted on our website, take a look at it, and then either punch the button or tell our secretary that they've looked at it so they can get credit. They pay for their luncheon like guests do with cash or check. They're supposed to participate in all activities of the club. There's no difference. From the RI perspective, there are only 2 types of members in our club: active members and honorary. If you pay dues, you're an active member. So an E-member is an active member and has all the requirements that anybody else has in the club. They're also able to serve in leadership positions and really should, and perfect attendance, like I said, is possible, but a bit difficult. Family members. Family members are not required to view online because it is assumed that the family member who is active ordinary comes to the meeting. The family member can quiz the other person on, gee, what happened, honey, at the club meeting, and the answer will be, not much, and they go on their way. They pay for their luncheon with cash or check. They are expected to participate in club events as well. And in fact, there are many wives that I've talked to who would like to be in the club, can't come all the time, and this is a great opportunity for them to do that. They can serve in leadership positions as well. And another advantage is, instead of having 2 Rotary magazines which come to your house and you probably never read, you'll get one that comes to your house and you'll probably never read. But that saves you some money as well. And we have the corporate member. The corporate member is someone who has a business or a small organization. They are a member, and sometimes they can't come, so they tell one of their people, why don't you go, tell me what happens, meet some people, have a great lunch. So they would come here, pay their money in the name of so-and-so, their boss, and they would participate in the events, but they cannot vote. So if we had corporate members come here today who wasn't the corporate member, but was the guest, and we're going to do some voting here at the club in a little while, their vote, they couldn't vote, their vote wouldn't count. And again, a perfect attendance is possible, but somewhat difficult. So the main points. If you're a member, if you pay dues, you're a member. It doesn't matter who you are, E-member, family member, ordinary, whatever. You pay dues, you're in the club. All of our dues pay for the club operations. We pay dues at 3 different levels: RI dues, district dues, and dues here among ourselves. And there's a few other things we pay for as well. Luncheon members prepay. That's understood. Luncheon members attend the majority of the meetings. Luncheon members really have to come a little bit more often than we are. Why? I'll get to that. LOA is leave of absence. Prior to this, if you went on leave of absence, you paid a very nominal fee. Now that we have E-members, you want to, let's say you're an active member and you're going to New Hampshire for 2 or 3 months and you don't want to pay the normal fee, you can request it from the board to be on LOA status. If the board approves, you'll be designated an E-member while you're away, and your dues will be adjusted for that amount of money. So the club is committed, this is a key one, to 75 meals every meeting. Every meal costs us $12. I don't know how many people we have here, Howard, do you know?
59.
59. So we're 16 meals in the hole already, and we're even on seats because we only pay for seats where people sit. So when someone comes in who's a guest or an e-member or whatever, the $12 for their meal and the $3 for their seat equals a $15 that they pay Howard. And that's where we get the seat payment is head count of $3 per seat. It used to be $2.75, it just went up. The price of the meals, I think, has been steady for about 5 or 6 years. Also out of that price of the meals, they deliver it, they take it back, they pay the wait staff, they supply everything, which is quite a deal for us. So, here's our shared expenses. Rotary dues this year are $8,200. Since 2013, they've gone up 30%. And now they're $8,200, or roughly for us. The district is $3,600, they've gone up. The social events are probably $3,200 a year is what we generally spend. And our admin expenses, Rotary International Convention, the wheel, et cetera, and we have a complete breakout, it just wouldn't fit on the slide, is about $17,000 a year. That's what it costs us to run this club. And to go to training, by the way. Separate billing is stuff that Rotary International or the club has decided they would do separately. Polio Plus is a separate billing from Rotary International, and they require us to pay $30 per person in the first quarter. We can't prorate it over the year because they want it in October. So when you get your Q1 bill, it should have on there a line item for $30 at one time. When you get your bill for Q2 and Q3, Polio Plus won't be there, but you'll get an additional billing for $25 both quarters for Paul Harris Fellow Sustaining Membership. Okay? The meal expenses, like I said before, run us about $50,000 a year. $41,000 for meals, $9,000 for seats, 75 meals per meeting times 12 meals per, or $12 per meal times 45 meetings a year, roughly. That's where the figures come up. We're still waiting for the church. It looks like there's going to be 6 Wednesdays where we can't meet here. That may have some impact. I just talked to them today about it. That may have some change. We'll have to struggle with that when we get to it. So, what are the results? The active luncheon dues will go from $77 to $85 a month. That's about a 10% increase. First increase, I think, in about 5 or 6 years. The active non-luncheon dues, the family members, the e-members, the corporate members who didn't pay any dues to the club, but they paid their portion of the Rotary International and district dues, now they're going to pay to the club or their dues. Their portion will go up to $45 a month. That's higher than it was, but they're going to start bearing a cost of the administrative load as well. Now, like I said, first due increase in the past 7 years. What does this mean? If there are no surprises, if district doesn't say, you know, you really should send 4 people to this and 8 people to that, or prices climb for some particular reason, we should have a net surplus of about $1,700, which we can turn back into our checking account and start to build that up to what it used to be. Okay? Now, these numbers may change a little bit because we're going to have a board meeting here, a financial board meeting at 6 o'clock, and we're going to go over everything, and we should have the data from the church as well. I would hope that's the case. So, all that being said, that's the one overview of the finances. And I'm here to answer any questions for the next 5 or 6 minutes. Oh, time's up. No, go ahead.
Jeff, we'd like to clarify one thing about the Polio Plus. You and I had talked, and since it's the money is due in October,
Yeah.
instead of being billed $30 for the first quarter, I split it up to 15 and 15, still allowing us the ability to pay the money in October.
Okay, you heard it. Some other question? Yes.
Yeah, my thing is, as a traditional member, you pay your dues, but you include your meals whether you're here or not. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
And then if I bring a guest, I sign the names in, and then I will get an extra bill for the guest.
That's correct. Okay. Yes.
And we still have a meal at a Rotary board that we have to do.
Yes. Yes.
Is this a bad time to ask for my pay raise?
No. And the answer is no. Any other questions about money, where it's going, how we came to these figures? Yes.
When will this take effect, Jeff?
You got the bill, he mailed them out yesterday?
I mailed the bills out yesterday. You should get them in the mail in the next day or so. The one thing that I did not put on the bill that I would like to include now is any member that has this pays by check naturally, please put your name on the check or the bill that you're sending back. This is my last year as treasurer. Wayne Promislow is taking my position, and he ain't gonna know who runs Holiday Inn or Denny's, aluminum factory or whatever. So you need to put